All right, here's our next lesson video, day 1.2. This lesson, we're going to look at multiplying and dividing whole numbers. Okay, again, no calculators. We're going to review how to multiply and divide. If you want to pause the video at any time to copy things down, go ahead and do so. But first, we are going to take a look at some basic multiplication with larger numbers. All right, so remembering your multiplication facts is a good idea. We need to have that as our starting point, as our basis. So if you're having trouble with that, by all means, please ask for help. You're welcome to use a calculator to check your work, but we're going to go over and not just plug things into a calculator to multiply and divide first. We're going to review how to do that on paper. So there's kind of two ways we can look at this. First, on this first problem, if I'm doing 271 times 31, we're doing this by place value, and it's important we understand that. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the ones place here, all right, the 1 and the 31, and we're going to multiply that by every one of those, okay? So 1 times 1 is 1, 1 times 7 is 7, and 1 times 2 is 2. Then we are going to take the 3 in the tens place and multiply, I don't like that, let's try that again, and multiply 3 by each one of these. But since the 3 is in the tens place, it's really like the number 30. So if I do 30 times 1, I get 30. That's why we bring down a 0 as a placeholder. All right? And then 30 times 70, or 3 times 7, is 21, but that starts us into the hundreds place, and I carry the 2 up into the next place value there. All right, and if I do the 3 times this 2, that's a 6, or like 30 times 200, it would be 600, or sorry, 6,000. That's why it goes to 6 into the thousands place, but we have to add this extra 2 here. So 6, 7, 8 gets us to 8,000. And then we just take our place values and we add them up. 1 plus 0 is 1, 70 plus 30 is another 100 then, so we put a 0 and carry the 1. 200 plus 100 is 400, and then 8,000 just drops down. So 8,401 is your answer for number 1. Then as we move forward, number 2, if I take 32 times 600, when I'm writing it out, usually we want to change that to a vertical multiplication. And a lot of you are going to start off by putting the big number on top and the shorter number on bottom. And you're welcome to do that. However, because the large number has these two zeros, we can actually put the big number on bottom because I don't need to multiply 0 times 2 and 0 times 3, and then the other 0 times 2 and 0 times 3. That's all going to be zeros. So I'm just going to carry these two zeros down and use them as placeholders in the hundreds column. Now, 6 times 2 is 12, and 6 times 3 is 18, plus the extra 1 is 19. So 19,200 is our answer. And that way I don't have to have the extra rows for these zeros that don't really matter. As we go through and divide, however, division, you can remember your multiplication facts and do some of this mentally. Other times you're going to have to use long division. So we're going to go through an example like that in a minute. But for division, if I have a number that is a multiple of the second number, 30 divided by 5, you're asking how many times does this 5 go into 30? Or how many times can you count by 5s before you get to 30? Well, I can even write that out. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So 5 times 1 is 5, 5 times 2 is 10, times 3 is 15, times 4 is 20, times 6, times 5 is 25, times 6 is 30. So 30 divided by 5 is 6. Okay? But other times, I don't want to have to count by 5s to get all the way up to 470. Even if I can't remember my facts, I can still count these out for problems kind of like this. But bigger numbers require us to go through a different method of organizing that. So if I'm doing 470 divided by 5, 470 is our big number, our top number, numerator if I wrote it as a fraction. So it goes inside our long division box. and we are dividing by 5. 5 is called our divisor, okay? And so I want to kind of use this as a model to see how many times 5 goes into each one of these. Well, I can start with the place values. If I check 5 into the 4 here, 5 is bigger than 4. So I can't count by 5s and get to a 4. So I'm going to group these together and view that as 47 then. I can count by 5s and get to 47. Okay? You should remember that 5 times 9 is 45. 5 times 10 is 50. So I can't go all the way up to 50 since I'm at 47. I'm going to show that 5 times 9 is what gives me the closest number to 47, which is 45. So I bring that down because 9 times this 5 is 45. So I'm going to subtract that to see what I have as a remainder, what my leftover is. Okay, so 47 minus 45 is just 2, which is good that it's still less than 5 because 5 can't go into 2. It's too big. So then I bring down my next digit, a 0. Now 5 does go into 20 pretty evenly. We saw that above here. 5 times 4 is 20. So when I do this 20 divided by 5, that answer is 4. 4 times 5 is exactly 20, so there is no remainder. So that is my answer, 94. So 470 divided by 5 is 94. And that's your example of long division.